guys. I don't know if Donald Trump is senile or not. But I have a pretty good guess. Everyone keeps saying he's so smart. He's so smart. Look at how smart he is. He's playing 5D chess. He literally can't remember his vice president's wife's name.
Were invited over there, and I thought it would be I have great respect for the wife of our of our great vice president. I think she's she's a brilliant woman. She's a very nice woman, and she loves the concept of Greenland, and so she's.
He literally forgot that her name is Usha Vance. And even if you forgot her first name, you could just call her Mrs. Vance. Or the second lady. There's so much to dissect here, because there are multiple alternatives you could use to woman married to the vice president. And on top of that, guys, she loves the concept of Greenland. Like what? The concept that it exists, or the concept of colonizing it? What does that even mean? Or he's just racist and won't say it. I mean, he will say the names of people who are not white. I've heard him do it. I've just never heard him completely beef it on someone who's literally in his inner circle. The vice president and the president know each other fairly well, guys. Why do people think he's smart? I thought the appeal was that he's incredibly uneducated and therefore relatable. Because they all think that he has some kind of grand plan. That all of the people kowtowing to his power and wealth, or at least the projected power and wealth that he tries to send out into the world, are all of that is actually because of a brilliant plan, a clever ploy. He's not. And honestly, that might be one of our saving graces here, because when we're talking about these people, chat, it is really important to remember that they are dumb as a box of rocks. Because guys, if you were going to do a slow rolling fascist coup of the United States via bureaucratic gutting of the state, what is the one thing you wouldn't want to do? What's the one thing you wouldn't want to do, folks? Anyone? Bueller? Is this slow? I don't know what that means, bud. Exactly, Comrade Girl 2018. You wouldn't want to screw the soldiers over. In fact, you'd be doing everything you can to make sure all of the systems that support soldiers and things like veterans, former soldiers, people with the training, people with who represent the future a soldier has when they go into the military. You wouldn't want to screw with that, right? Earlier today, this started getting reported in places. Two sources have told me that the Department of Veterans Affairs payroll system, VATAS, has been down since Friday. It is operating in emergency mode only and will have to resort to straight time cards to get people their base pay on Friday. No explanation or timeline of when it will be back up again. Everyone is wondering what caused it to crash, and none of my sources have ever heard of it doing so before. More to follow. I mean, Yeah, hit the mat. Basically, your guess of Doge chewing through the wires is as good as mine, but that's probably close to accurate, you know? Um, I think, like, if we're talking about, like, anything more basic than, oh, you want to take over a place, well, the number one thing you gotta do is you gotta pay your soldiers. That's like the number one thing you have to do if you want to seize power in a country. And they're not even succeeding in being able to do that. And not only that, there has been, and I don't know how official it is, but there's been a lot of rumors being circulated in the media that the VA is about to slash like 83,000 jobs. And like, I mean, you can do that, but like, you know, it's the kind of thing where like if shit hits the fan real hard, you know, if like the rule of law is suspended, the Constitution doesn't matter anymore, and it's just politics of the rock, um, whichever side has the military support is going to win that. And it's the military is not going to support the side that fucked it over repeatedly at every turn. You know, like just full stop. Yes, Banana Brains, that's actually an excellent example of what I'm talking about. In YouTube chat, you wrote, soldiers not getting enough money and food were major causes for the February Revolution in Russia in 1917 and the German Revolution in 1918. Indeed. In fact, many historical revolutions have been spurred by such negligence, we'll say. We've actually gotten indications of what the error is in veteran circles. The error being thrown out is exception minimum password age. It's also taking VA workers to a new login page. What does that mean? Exception minimum password age. Did they just like copy all of like the login info to like a new spreadsheet to like feed into their AI algorithms? That's kind of what it sounds like. Like they copied it all out and then they realized they fucked up and then they tried to put it back. Yeah. It sounds like someone tried to copy the database and screwed up really badly. Yeah, they're messing with the actual system itself, not yeah. You know, all I'm saying is that's awful. It is also good for, you know, the perspective survival of democracy, you know? So this is bad, but democracy's good. So, you know, like silver linings and all that. Yeah, they just grabbed users and outputted it to a CSV. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something like that in a system that is not built to do that. One of the primary reasons that the Roman Empire spread so much was due to how well they paid soldiers. True, Van Briggs in Twitch chat. True, true, true. All right. Now, folks, while we're talking about like why you don't want to screw over soldiers and veterans and the like on a basic payment level, can anyone think of other ways you don't want your members of government fucking over soldiers and veterans? Can anyone like spitball a few ideas? Like say if you saw someone doing something, you wouldn't want them, yeah, like that might put soldiers at risk actually. You know, you guys are saying healthcare, housing. I mean, all of that is true. But I'm going to go one step further. You probably don't want your officials just leaking combat plans. to anyone and not vetting numbers, not doing any OPSEC whatsoever for the people in the highest levels of your government. You know, probably wouldn't want that happening. And yet, this is a piece from The Atlantic today. And I can tell you guys firmly that this has now breached containment. This is now in mainstream news. This is all over the place. People are absolutely baffled by this. Okay? The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans by Jeffrey Goldberg. And basically, if you want a summation of what happened here, folks, it's that a bunch of people high up in the Trump administration were planning their bombing campaign of Yemen. And instead of doing that via secure military channels or in areas where, you know, top secret information can be shared securely, face to face, etc. Instead of doing that, they downloaded Signal to their phones and started a group text, and then added phone numbers that they weren't aware of to the group text. Like, they added unvetted members of the military and also of the public to the group text. And not only is this one of like the biggest like national security breaches like this, guys, like, let me put it this way. If any one of you had done anything like this, you would be like black-sighted within 24 hours. Okay? You would not see the light of day for the next 20 years. That's how illegal this is. And Republicans are trying to play it off as like, oh, well, no, whoa, hey, who hasn't made a little whoopsie daisy? These are the same people who, like, put Hillary Clinton through like 14 rounds of congressional questioning over like an email server that was unsecured. Meanwhile, they're just adding random dipshits to a fucking Signal text. It is the next evolution of War Thunder forums, exactly. It's well, and the thing is, people are like, oh, well, the chats auto delete in a Signal chat, which is true. This is a way to try and get around record keeping. However, just to point out, like, doing that is illegal. That is not something you are legally allowed to do. On top of that, what is the only other reason you would want to have Signal chats? You would want to have Signal chats so that you can add unvetted people to your planning roster. Literally, guys, the reason they're doing this is so that they can have lobbyists in on their war plans, so that they can, like, literally just add anyone they feel like, people from other countries, you know, foreign agents, adversaries, etc. Like, every element of this is ungodly levels of illegal. In a normal time, this would lead to bare minimum the resignation of, like, you know, the defense secretary as well as like anyone else involved in that Signal chat. However, we're not in normal times, so they're going to try to shield these people from responsibility. But like, it's It's really bad. Let's see here. The world found out shortly before 2 p.m. Eastern Time on March 15th that the United States was bombing Houthi targets across Yemen. I, however, knew 2 hours before the first bombs exploded that the attack might be coming. The reason I knew this is that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, had texted me the war plan at 11:44 a.m. The plan included precise information about weapons, packages, targets, and timing. Like, that's cooked. No, and that's the thing, Mini-Me. It is absolutely true. If this happened under... Remember I said minimum the defense secretary would resign. Guys, in a normal time, the president would resign for something this egregious. That's how bad this is. And you know what? It somehow gets worse when you actually look at what Donald Trump said about this.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time. Anybody else?
This announcement on Hyundai, is this a blueprint for you?
Real quick, you understand that this guy's the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, right? No, like, even if you're trying the ignorance is bliss defense, like, he's the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. He's supposed to know about all of this shit. He's supposed to know what his defense secretary does. He's supposed to know that they're using Signal. And instead, he's just like, I don't know anything about it. Whatever. And it's just like, no, you're responsible for what your underlings do. Like, you hired these guys, you chose them, you are responsible for their actions. Like, it's insane. It's just insane. And, like, it's really hard to... it's really hard to emphasize how awful all of this is. Okay? Like, guys, we got actual screenshots. JD Vance, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize the risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. I fully share your loathing of, I'm going to presume Europe is the next word there. Yep, European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good a time as any given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. Like, why is JD in the chat? Because Donald Trump doesn't do anything anymore, guys. He's just doing his catty, like, petty vengeances against his detractors. That's it. That's the only thing he does. And then he signs whatever they give him, you know? And what is fascinating about all of this? Wait, why does this administration hate Europe so much? Oh, God. How much time do you have? These people have always hated Europe for being, like... an example to, like, Americans that we can, in fact, do, like, Medicare for all. You know, that's on one hand. On the other hand, like, European allies prevent, full-throated imperialist action from America. It's inconvenient to them that they cannot simply dictate to European nations and have European nations jump. It is in their kind of calculus of diplomatic world relations, they view Europe as a prime target for exploitation rather than an equal partner. That's kind of how it boils down. But like, this is bad, guys. On top of that, like, we know what happened with the bombing campaign in Yemen, which is they're just killing civilians. Like, most of the people being killed in Yemen right now are civilians. Like, they don't have a super sophisticated operation over there. Ugh. It's quite awful. Do we have more? Oh yeah, here we go. Like, they literally called it the Houthi PC small group. You got John Ratcliffe here, you got Michael Waltz. This is insane. And so far, some members of Congress are actually standing up and having a spine about this, which is great. Statement from Congressman Jonathan L. Jackson on leaked war plans and call for resignations. I'm calling for the immediate resignation of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and other top cabinet officials in the wake of the shocking and dangerous leak of classified U.S. war plans detailing potential strikes against Yemen. The careless mishandling of sensitive information has not only compromised national security, but also put the lives of U.S. service members and our allies at tremendous risk. The irony of this catastrophic failure is impossible to ignore. Because, guys, it's not just this one occasion. It's not like this was done in such a slapdash way that it's pretty apparent that they will do it again and have done it before and are just going to bumble their way through military security, So, members of Congress demanding resignations is totally justified here. This is the same administration that launched relentless attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, dismantling them under the false pretense that diversity initiatives weaken national security and undermine merit. Yet under their so-called merit-based leadership, we now face a situation where top officials couldn't safeguard classified information or uphold the basic responsibility of securing sensitive national security communications. This administration prioritized ideological attacks over competence and accountability. They focused on banning DEI programs and even took aim at cultural icons like Jackie Robinson and the Enola Gay exhibit, stripping away any acknowledgement of the complex and diverse history that shapes our nation. Yet when they were busy erasing history, they failed to prevent a security breach of historic proportions, one that could plunge the U.S. into another devastating conflict. Wild stuff. Good evening, Dragonfly. To make matters worse, this failure comes after the reckless deployment of unvetted AI systems to identify budget cuts across the federal government. Instead of thoughtful, human-centered decision-making, the administration chose to rely on artificial intelligence models that lacked the capacity for nuance and context, jeopardizing national security while demoralizing federal workers who have dedicated their whole careers to public service. Our troops, many of whom come from diverse backgrounds, are being asked to defend a country where their personal heritage has been attacked by the very administration sending them into harm's way. Secretary Hegseth's continued presence at the helm of the Department of Defense is demoralizing to those who serve, and it undermines the trust that should exist between leadership and those on the front lines. Further, I'm demanding a full investigation into whether Secretary Hegseth was intoxicated during any of the communications related to this breach. It is imperative that we we determine whether impaired judgment led him to fail to recognize that the means of communication being used to discuss sensitive war plans was not secure. If intoxication played any role in this national security failure, it only underscores the urgency of his immediate resignation. Honestly, fair question to ask. Yeah, and in case you're like, well, what do you mean? Like, bruh, are you seriously telling me you're sending a fist bump America fire emoji in this chat and you're not like just plastered? Not just like absolutely wasted? You not crunk as fuck? Nah, don't try and lie to me like that. We live in such a silly time, and like this is just like one of the things that happened today that was really stupid. I really want to emphasize how big of a deal this is. This is catastrophic. This is like, oh, you need to scrap all of your war plans and like start from scratch again because the enemy knows everything you're gonna do. You know, it's bad, and yet we'll see if anything comes of it. And I don't know. It is fascinating, the times we live in, you know, maybe the worst possible ways, but like, holy shit. These people need to be gone. You know, I every single day I wake up and I'm just like, okay, what's in the news today? And I roll over and I read something like Donald Trump and Elon Musk have actively funneled another $20 billion into pro-cancer research. Not professional cancer like care research, but, you know, in favor of cancer killing humans research. It really does feel like that. And it's gotten to the point where I'm just like, every single person in this government, every single person in this administration needs to like face a jury of their peers at the end of this. Like it's actually unconscionably evil, you know? They're trying to get rid of, you know, cancer research, AIDS research, HIV research. They're trying to like destroy the ability to get your kids vaccinated. They're even waging war on like the flu vaccinations that come out every year. On top of that, it's like, oh yeah. Also, the most pro-peace president is going to bomb Yemen. Are you kidding me? And most of the people dying are civilians. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, nothing he has promised has been true. No improvements that he has suggested have actually been made. All that has been done is making every single one of our lives worse. Like, oh, but he's just firing people from the federal government. You know, he's cutting the fat. But the fat is like, you know, services for people with disabilities. The fat is like, you know, like that's what fat is to him. It's like, oh, you want buildings to have ramps? Woke. We're cutting that. That's like every single thing. And it's just bizarre to me. Absolutely bizarre. And yet, here we are. But, you know, one of the things I take heart in is the fact that a lot of what is happening right now is not going unnoticed and is in fact spurring people to take action. Get out there, go to your Tesla takedowns, your indivisible protests, your your no-show town halls. You know, get out there, do your thing. You know, consider running for office to improve things in your area if there's no better option available to you. Yeah, and Amber Brains, that's one of the stories we're going to talk more in depth about tomorrow, because like this DOGE stuff comes at a price. The amount of things and initiatives that they are killing in the federal government has an untold amount of cost to it. But what the IRS has been able to calculate so far is that the chaos DOGE has created in the government is going to cost the government around $500 billion. $500 billion. $500 billion. Because of the sheer number and volume of money that taxpayers that would normally pay are just going to be like, I'm not going to pay this year. The tax revenue is down, I think, like 10%. And that comes out to about $500 billion. But like, that's not going to be like you and me, folks, who are going to get away with like not paying taxes. It's going to be like rich assholes like Elon Musk, you know, like Mark Zuckerberg. The rich are going to be able to just not pay their taxes because that's what is happening by design. It's disgusting to me. We're going to go more in depth on that story tomorrow, but like it's really bad, guys. I'm so tired.